Hello internet people and welcome back to the channel. Before we get into today's video, I need to take a second to say thank you so much for helping me get to my goal. We had a goal to hit 40 subscribers before the end of the month, and I think we're currently sitting at 46. This would have been literally impossible without you guys. So thank you so very much for all of the support. And with that being said, let's get into the video. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League finally came out, and unfortunately for me, I'm going to have to pass on buying it on release. I still have to buy these games for me to review them, and I can't justify spending $100 on a game that feels incomplete, not to mention that they refuse to lift up the embargoes on reviews until after the game was released, which is generally a tactic that company uses to make sure that other people will buy their game without seeing the reviews. Because when a company refuses reviewers or does not send review copies to game outlets like IGN, that's because they know there's issues with the game, and they're hoping that people are going to stick to the hype and they're going to buy the game regardless of the fact that there's no reviews. Unfortunately, a lot of people fell for this, but not me, and I'm here to talk to you guys about why I'm passing on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. For those of you who did end up buying the game, are you enjoying it and who are you playing? And while you're in the comment section, why don't you hit that subscribe and notification button? And with that being said, let's jump right into it. The story is fairly simple. You have Brainiac, that is a 12th level intellect species that has come to invade Earth in the hopes of one day being able to resurrect his species, I guess. 12th level intelligence, my ass. Why didn't you get rid of the Suicide Squad before any of this happened? But you know what? So far from what I've seen and what I've heard, the story starts off pretty strong in like the first 5 hours of the 10 to 12 hour campaign, but then just kind of gets off the rails, and it's really hard to invest yourself in anything of what's happening with your characters. One of the things that holds the story back is that the characters that you play as are just constantly making fun of everything. Like, they take nothing serious whatsoever. And if the character you're controlling is just never being serious, how am I, the player, supposed to take any of what's happening seriously? How am I supposed to emotionally invest myself in these characters if they themselves don't even care about what's happening? And I really mean, like, they take nothing seriously. Spoilers ahead for anyone who doesn't know this, but you do end up killing the Flash. You know, the game is called Kill the Justice League, and the Flash is your first victim. After helping you out, but unfortunately succumbing to Brainiac's influence, the Flash ends up being the first boss in the game, and you end up killing him. And what better way to send off the beloved character known as Flash than having Captain Boomerang piss on his corpse and have Harley salute his Johnson. Yes, this is not a joke. This actually happens in the game.
And so the Flash has expired. He saved our lives, yet we ended his. As honorable warriors, we will show proper respect to this fallen hero by...
Show a little class, man. Holy shit. Congratulations.
Makes sense. The gods have cursed you in every other way.
As I mentioned, you have a good 10 to 12 hours of this nonsense happening, and this story mode is what's supposed to get you to want to come back and play the game again and again and again for years to come, but the story does not do that. The death of the League members are unsatisfying and unceremonious, except for Wonder Woman for whatever reason, which is weird in itself because Wonder Woman is probably the newest addition to the Arkhamverse, so I don't really see why they gave her so much spotlight. It would not have bothered me if they had given the same treatment to at least Batman, who is responsible for the entire Arkham franchise, but instead she's the only one who gets any kind of treatment whatsoever. I think the most egregious thing of the story is how this is going to be Kevin Conroy's last performance as Batman, and it ends on such a terrible note of him getting shot by Harley while being under the influence of Brainiac. Just boom, unceremonious like that. And again, this is him dying after he helps you defeat Superman. This would not have bothered me if they had at least had Bruce try to fight off Brainiac's control over him or something. Instead, we get a Batman who's just sitting there waiting to get shot by Harley, and then it happens, and then it's done. This is the character that built the Arkham franchise, and it's also the last performance of Kevin Conroy, and this is the send-off you're gonna give this character. I understand there's gonna be a whole multiverse thing going, and they're gonna bring characters back to life in that aspect, that does not erase the fact of the complete and total lack of respect to the character Batman and the voice actor Kevin Conroy. Out of anybody who should have gotten some type of ceremonial death or a heroic death, it should have been Batman, not Wonder Woman. Seeing how the scene played out, it kind of just felt like a huge slap to the entire fandom, but hey, I'm just a guy named it. And my last gripe with the story definitely has to be the end of the game. Once you beat Brainiac in one of the worst boss fights you've ever seen, nothing changes afterwards. You go exactly back to the status quo. Zip, zero, zilch. And honestly, that just comes off as extremely lazy more than anything else. I get that it's a live service game and you want the bad guy to keep coming back for more mishaps and whatnot, but you could have at least made some type of visual change to the city. Have Brainiac's mothership crash into the bay and have half of it sunk underwater. Have some of the tentacles break off into the city. Something. Make it known that something has happened. The ending of the game and the beginning of the game should look different. A great example of this would be Spider-Man 2. When you fight Sandman in the beginning, there's a lot of areas in the city that are covered in sand. As you complete tasks throughout the game, those areas have the sand removed. Again, all of this felt very, very lazy, and this is coming from someone who has not even played it yet. This is just from watching, right? I have not gotten the full extent of everything, and I'm already bored, so I can't imagine investing another 10 hours into the game, even less investing 100 to 200 to even 1,000 hours in this live service game. Moving on to the gameplay, this is a looter shooter, plain and simple. What you see in the trailer is exactly what you're gonna get. I will say that the traversal does look like a whole lot of fun. However, it's not gonna be enough to keep me playing this game for literally thousands of hours. The guns are basic with some added elemental attacks like frost and fire, which is insane to me because they have every single right to go balls to the wall crazy with their arsenal. This is a comic book video game. Where is my freeze ray? Where is my pie launcher that does pie damage? You have multiverse. You could literally have a gun that shoots out a teddy bear that explodes into more teddy bears and throws pies at people that does acid damage. You guys could have done that, but instead you decided to give me a regular gun, just a regular weapon. Why, Rocksteady? Why? The possibilities are literally endless, and you chose to go safe, cautious, and boring, most importantly. Now, let's not forget about the melee portion of the combat, right? You can hit an enemy and you can do a finisher. This is not melee combat. That's like saying if Call of Duty, with your little knife action, if that was a melee character. It's not a melee character. Characters have a melee attack, but this is a third-person game. This is a third-person shooter. Don't say that, oh, we spent so much time on the melee, when you clearly did not spend that much time on the melee to develop it into something that we want to come back to. If this was melee like you were saying, I should be able to complete the game from start to finish without ever using a gun. Then your melee is really a part of your arsenal. At this point in time, your melee is just a tool, more of an afterthought. You need to use it for shield harvest, I believe. I don't know the entire details because I have not played the game yet. Disclaimer, I didn't play the game yet. The melee aspect almost feels like an afterthought, and I'm not here for it. Moving from the characters and going on to the missions. So from what I've read and what I've seen, these story missions are basically, you have objectives to complete. You have an escort mission, protect the point mission, get rid of enemy waves, which is fun for a story mode, except for escort missions. Who enjoys an escort mission? Now, as I was saying, you have 3 mission types in the game, which isn't that bad for the story mode since it's only about 10 to 12 hours at most. But that's when I found out that these side missions are the exact same thing as the story mission, which means in this live service game where they expect you to play for thousands of hours for multiple years, you've experienced everything the game has to offer you within the first 10 to 11 hours. Please, someone tell me how this was a good idea. How did this pass? I know that there's going to be updates in the future with possibility of new missions, new enemy types, and new weapon types. However, I am not going to buy a game on what might happen in the future. I'm going to buy a game and I'm going to judge a game on what it is offering me on the date of release. And so far, what it's offering me is a lack of content, a bunch of bugs, no mission variety, 3 enemy types, terrible boss battles, and on top of that, the last boss battle is simply the Flash boss battle, but in purple. Having the final encounter with Brainiac be the Flash, but in purple, simply leads me to believe that this is what's going to be happening in the future. In the future, when we go to Otherworld or Elseworld or whatever it's called, we're gonna fight Brainiac again, because that's the end game. The end game is you go to a different metropolis where Brainiac is invading, and then you have to fight him off in that multiverse area. This is how it's gonna happen. Next time, we're gonna fight Purple Green Lantern. Then we're gonna fight Purple Superman. And then we're gonna fight, you guessed it, Purple Batman. It's just gonna be rehashes of previous boss fights, and they're gonna slap on a new color and call it a day. Let's not forget that there's gonna be enemies in these boss fights, so it's new, it's different, it's revolutionary. A live service game with 3 enemy types, 3 mission types, and reused boss fight. This is what they're selling us for $100. This is insane and is unacceptable, which is why I can't bring myself to buy this on release. To be fair, I have not played the game, so this is not a review of the game. This is simply why I will not be purchasing the game on release. However, I will be keeping an eye on the game and keeping you guys updated because I am still a little hopeful. My reason being is that most people have said that they enjoyed Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League more than they enjoyed Gotham Knights. When I played and beat Gotham Knights, I finished it with a moderate level of enjoyment, and if people are saying that the game is at least better than Gotham Knights, I still have a little bit of hope towards it. As much as I want this game to be good, I can't buy it at full price, and I can't recommend anyone else do so for the simple reasons that 1, the game's a buggy mess, it keeps crashing. 2, a lack of mission and enemy variety, and 3, a blatant disrespect to the source material. I mean, King Shark wearing the lantern ring after the lantern fight. Have you guys even read a comic book before making this game? That is going to be it for today's video, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Are you gonna buy Suicide Squad? Did you already buy it? If you did, are you happy with your purchase? Let me know. By the way, while you're there, if you could just like, share, subscribe, hit that notification button, all that stuff would be fantastic. And at the end of the day, remember, I'm just some guy on the internet, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.